Hello, this is TurboDog702 for the Castlevania Symphony of the Night Any Percent tutorial. In this section of the tutorial, I will be going over the many different ways in which to get to the fairy card inside of the long library. There's a variety of ways that you can be able to get to the fairy card. I'm going to go over some of the best ones that I'm aware of. Really all the ones that I'm aware of that I think you could maybe try. I know a lot of people seem to be having trouble getting up there. Hopefully this will help you guys out. I'm going to be going over some of the methods that the top-end speedrunners use, but I'll also go over some much easier methods just to get people situated with the route. Okay, so we're going to actually go into the game, and we're going to go into my library practice file here. Absolutely recommend making practice files, by the way, especially for things like this if you're having trouble with any trick inside of this game reel. So we have most of the things that we need. Something that's really nice here too is for one of the methods that I'm going to show you. Actually, I guess I'll show that one first. It's a punch method. The first person that I saw use it was Disqual, but somebody else might have picked it up as well. The reason it's really nice is because it could be very useful in a theoretical toadstool route percent. I also like it for safety. I think it's a pretty good strat, safety-wise. So I guess I'll show that one off first. So you would have your Alucard shield and you would have nothing on, basically. You get over here when you actually attempt this skip. So I'm going to reset the room real quick and kind of go over what we're doing first before I actually do it. So what you're going to be doing is you'd be coming out of this door like you would normally, but instead of turning into a wolf here like you normally would, you just continue to shield dash up here. And what you're doing is you're getting up to this book. So what we're going to do is we're going to activate the book above me, punch it twice, or hit it twice at least. Do a jumping forward mist, up forward mist, dive kick off of it, and then try to mist up to the platform above us. It might require a little bit of wolf rising as well. So what's important to note about this is in order to do this technique with 2 punches, you need to have under 22 base strength. On this file, you'll see that I have 17. If this was 22, I'd only be able to do 1 punch. So what we would be doing is we would be going like this. Well, sorry, not like that. Let's go ahead and reset the room and do it for real. And you'll kind of see immediately what I'm doing here. So we shield dash over to it. Comes out of the wall. We punch it twice. Missed. Dive kick. And this time I need to wolf rise a little bit and then get up on top. If you find that you're really short, you could always just keep wolf rising and get a damage boost from the books, like let them hit you. Another thing you could do is if you're really close, you know, use your mist. Get that last little bit with the mist. Something that I would like to cover for every version of this skip is if you miss that second mist up to the cliff, you do have a shot at potentially dive kicking off of the books that are coming up behind you, these guys. So keep that in mind. See, I hit twice with that punch, so I would have to just jump up. I wouldn't be able to go for it again. And that's the worst thing that can happen, is if the book just follows you, you basically just get hit and there's not too much you can do about it. Which is, admittedly, one of the downsides to this. The other downside is if you go for 2 punches and you get 3 hits like I did there. You can mitigate that by quickly doing jump punches. See, if I miss this, I can try to dive kick like that, and still I can get up here. And these guys will almost always be coming up from this area. You know, usually they'll be about here when you dive kick, but it gives you a chance if you fail at the beginning. So keep that in mind with all of these techniques. The next technique that I'm going to show is another safety technique, and it requires a potion. You can pick up a potion on your way to see Maria for the first time. Basically, after Slogger Gaibon, there's a large room with an axe armor, a spittlebone, and another axe armor before you go into the marble gallery. In the bottom left, there's a potion that you would pick up there, and that's where you get the potion for this strat. So if you'll recall, potions make you invincible when you use them. So what we're going to do with this one is we're going to do any of the other setups that I'm going to mention, but after we untransform and prepare to dive kick the book, we'd use a potion. And that would make it so that we couldn't trade with the book. So let's hope that this works out. See? And you don't have to do it just like that, but the idea was to show that the potion can be used for invincibility. And with that invincibility, you can safely dive kick the book. Oops. Apparently it didn't want to miss there, so let's try that again. Or maybe not. Maybe we just won't run at all. Wolf's kind of a jerk sometimes for me. See? And we would dive kick off of him. I suppose you could do the same thing with a mana prism, but you wouldn't have that at this point in the run. Something to note is with the potion version of this skip, you only get one chance with the potion. After that, you're kind of, well, shit out of luck. See? You can get up this way. But that's using the potion for invincibility. The reason I like both of these, the punch strat and that one, is when you kill the book with the dive kick, it no longer has a hitbox, so it can't trade with you. If you use the potion, it can't trade with you because you're invincible. The biggest problem with this skip is two things. Either the books never come into range for you to be able to hit them, in which case you're just screwed, you have to try again, or you dive kick on the book and it hits you back. And when that happens, then you basically just have to go out and reset the room again. There's no way around it. And missing this trick costs you between 11 and 15 seconds. It really depends on how badly you miss it. But yeah, that's a safe strat for those two. A couple other safe strats that you could do. You could do the old any percent strat, which is you take off all of your armor. And the reason you're taking off all of your armor is you need to be able to have low enough defense that you get a different animation from damage boosting, and that different animation will cause you to get knocked back further. So what's different about this one, I'm going to actually try and trigger these guys. I'm just doing this so I can kind of show the positional difference here. So normally, like, you see how far I'm getting knocked back as well, just showing this. Okay. So normally, when you wolf jump, you'd be wolfing jump around here, normally. With this wolf jump, you really want to be jumping closer to here. Somewhere in this area. So in order to do this one, you wolf jump here, and instead of dive kicking off the book, you're just going to continuously wolf rise. And you should get high enough to where when the book comes into range of you, he'll damage boost you all the way up to the cliff. So I'll try and show that off right now. See? And he boosts me so much higher because I'm not wearing my armor. So that's a really, really safe way of doing this. The reason I don't like this one is obviously you have to re-equip your armor afterward. You don't necessarily have to equip all of it if you're used to the route, but you are going to have to re-equip the Dragon Helm because that gives you... it reduces the defense of enemies, so that can be really helpful. So you have to do some re-equipping, which is why I don't like this method. But it can be really good if you're just trying to get into the route again. Nice and simple, just do a nice wolf jump and just wolf rise until you get damage boosted with no gear on. The really, really, really safe method is and I really don't advocate this at all if you can avoid it, is once you teleport, you would put back on your Alucard sword, and you would do this. You would come in here, oops, you wouldn't do that. Although that's okay. Those guys can die. You would come in here, and you basically kind of skip the fairy card for now. You'd wolf jump up here, and continue on with the route. So we're basically skipping the fairy card using this technique. At this point, you would have enough to be able to use the stopwatch. I don't, so I'm going to go ahead and kill these guys, kind of. You'd have enough hearts, rather, to be able to stopwatch. So you would continue on over here. And again, keep in mind you don't have invincibility from Mana Prism for this, so you'd have to deal with all of these guys. You'd come over here, you'd use the Alucard sword to kill Lesser Demon. Come over here. Come over here. Come over here, get the bat form, and make your way back. Another thing that's important to note is you don't have the library card here, so you can't use the library card to quickly escape. You also don't have a Mana Prism, so you really can't spam the Bat Form Infinite Wing Smash. At that point, you have to Shield Dash over here, Bat up here, Shield Dash over here, turn into a Bat, get up here. Like, you can see just how much time I'm losing with this method. But again, this is like the safest of the safe strats. At this point, you could Wing Smash. You could refill your mana here. Keep in mind that if you haven't made a save game up to this point, it is going to automatically save, so you can't just get your mana back for free. But you would basically do that, and then instead of dealing with all this dive kick shenanigans, you would have Bat Form, and you could just fly up here and get the fairy card instead. So I did that really slow, but if you do this optimally, you'd be losing, I think, about 30 to 40 seconds. So it's definitely not recommended, but it is an option if you're just having tons and tons of trouble with this and you just want to get runs done. Focus on the rest of the route. So the next part of this video is going to be for more advanced techniques. I've done a little bit of them, as you saw earlier, and that was just because I was trying to show off the potion technique. So this really just has to do with combinations that you can do more than anything else. So the one that I use personally is I do not that. See, every time you make a mistake, you gotta reset the room too, which is super annoying for this. What I do is I jump, mist towards the upright, and try to dive kick off of it. See, this one, that time I traded. Supposedly this one is the safest one too, but I don't really buy that. However, it is the fastest method, I feel. See, and then you would mist up here. Sometimes, if you get a really nice kick and really nice positioning on the book, you can get up there without having to mist again. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get a little bit short, in which case you need to Wolf Rise until a book comes to damage boost you. A big part of this trick is really just doing what you can. You gotta be able to improvise using your mist mobility, Wolf Rising, all that other good stuff. But that's what I do. That's what most of the highest end runners do. Another thing you can do is you can do... Jeez. So the next thing I'm going to show you to do is you do a Wolf Rise, a single Wolf Rise, and then mist up and then dive kick. So what it would be like is you would be in wolf form. Sorry, I accidentally did that. So you would be in wolf form, then you would do that, go up, dive kick. Okay. So you would mist wolf, up mist, dive kick. Another important thing about this is that the direction that you dive kick in, whether you're facing left or right, does make a difference because you have a different hitbox. So try your best to make it so that Alucard's foot is the only thing that's dive kicking on top of him. Jeez. And I am just not doing very well on this trick right now. Okay. There we go. That's an example of it. Another thing that you could do instead is you could go ahead and Wolf Rise a couple times and then dive kick on him. Just basically mix and match. Those are the two best ones that I feel are worthwhile to look at. But again, sometimes you're just really short. You know, just play it by ear. And then sometimes they just knock you and there's nothing you can do about it. My best advice is just try not to get flustered by it, which is really hard, I understand. I mean, I've been frustrated with this trick many a time, and so have other top runners. Like, even getting the wolf jump is bugging me right now, but I think that's just because I'm trying to articulate my thoughts here more than anything else. See, like, if I missed it there, I might have to Wolf Rise and then get damage boosted. Obviously, I was going to make it on that particular one, but if I was a little short, I might have to do that. Like, if I'm down here, let's say, like, I might have to do that and wait for the book to come to damage boost me up. That'll do it for all the ones that I'm willing to teach you. So, once again, your options are go for the bat first. That's the really safest option. Another safe option would be to equip something that gives you some invulnerability, which would be the potion at the time you would do this, and use that to facilitate the method of your choice. There's the punch method, which would mean you'd have to have under 22 strength. You'd shield dash up to the book, jump punch it twice, jump and mist over it, and then dive kick down. And then the final safe method would be to take off all of your defensive gear and do the wolf jump earlier and just Wolf Rise, and then let the guy damage boost you with the much better animation that you have from no armor. For the advanced techniques, you can wolf jump, then mist, turn, dive kick, and then mist up after you bounce off of him. You could wolf jump, mist wolf, mist up, and then dive kick. Or some combination of those. Keep in mind that you might have to mist rise and wait for a damage boost, and you just gotta roll with that. That should do it for most of the techniques. Hopefully you found one that works for you. If not, like I said, play around with it. The big things is just getting a good wolf jump and hoping that the book doesn't screw you on the hitbox and trade with you. That'll do it for this section of the tutorial. This is TurboDog702 for the Castlevania Symphony of the Night Any% tutorial.